everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Iceland video. I'm not in Iceland, I am in my backyard. I have been in Martinique, actually in the French West Indies in the Caribbean, how do you say it? I've been there for a whole week with my wife and our very best friends in the world, and we had an amazing time. But because I was there in this warm, beautiful Caribbean sun and Caribbean sea, I'll just say both anyway, it'll be fine. I was really trying to just cover every area of my life and my soul with the sunshine in Martinique. So, I'm back in Alabama and it's cold and it's raining. So here I am, talking about Iceland. So let's get into the video, shall we? So this journey started off in Iceland. I woke up from my camper van. I had stayed in the campsite by myself because they're all empty in the winter. I was supposed to drive about 45 minutes back to the Glacier Lagoon. It was really, really snowy and really windy, like a blizzard, basically. And I've never driven in a blizzard, so it was kind of tricky. But I made it back, got on my tour, got in the van. We drove to the spot through this road that it looked like it was just all snow. But our guide knew where he was going and led us to a little parking area, and then we walked to the glacier, and it was unbelievable. It was a glacier, it's just solid ice. It was covered with a lot of snow, so it was pretty easy to walk. We had spikes, that little spike crampon things we put on our shoes, which helped us walk. It took about 2 hours to walk to the cave entrance. We had to follow in a very straight line so that nobody would fall into these huge holes in the ice all the way down to the ground, because then you might die. And that's kind of a serious thing, not to die. So I was really cautious of that, but it was so cool seeing these little spots where I'm like, that could be like hundreds of feet deep. And it's really cool. And it was just awesome. Once we got to the cave entrance, it was right at the edge of the lagoon, and I did not realize how huge this glacier lagoon is. I could barely see where I had been the day before with all the little icebergs and all the Diamond Beach. I couldn't even hardly see it. It was so far away. But it's as deep as 900 feet because that's how deep the glacier goes. So it's just mind-boggling. I can't even imagine. And we got to the ice cave. We walked sort of up this stream that was coming from these ice caves. And you have to walk really quickly under the entrance of the cave because that's the weakest point in the ice. It's very dangerous. So once we got through that, we took our crampons off, got all our camera gear out, and ventured into the caves. We had helmets and little lights so we could see. Certain parts were pretty dark, but those holes that we were avoiding on the top of the glacier let in the most beautiful light, showing how just blue and crystal clear this ice was. So I was able to use some of my friends that I had just met and the guide, as well as some models, you could say. But it really helps to give a sense of scale to these caves, because you just take a picture and you're like, this could be like macro photography. You don't really know what you're looking at because it's just these otherworldly forms of ice that don't make sense to our little normal eyes and brains. So it's really nice to put a person in the image a lot of times to make the picture something more unique and special than it would be if it was just a landscape photography art kind of picture. So some of these I did throw some people in there, some of them I didn't. So let me show you this first image. Okay, so this first image is one of my first ones I took in the ice caves. It was probably the brightest, grandest part of the cave, right at the opening of the cave. So it was just very bright, a lot of big open space, but the texture of the ice blew me away. It's just so crazy how the formations that it makes as it melts, and it was really cool to capture this one. This next image I love. It just kind of imagine this image like on a huge canvas on a wall on top of your couch, and your friends come over and they're like, what on earth is this? That's really what I was thinking about when I was taking this one. It's just abstract, but it also talks and speaks towards just a story of this journey that I went on a glacier in an ice cave with ice that's just thousands of years old in Iceland. And I just feel like this kind of image can spark hundreds of conversations with friends and family. So definitely a conversation starter, just a beautiful abstract, these awesome aqua and blue tones. This image, I did ask our guide to stand in the light, kind of looking up, gazing into the future, up above. It can really represent anything you want it to represent. But I did have him, he was moving a little bit. This was a slightly longer exposure because it was pretty dark in this area. So I knew that he was going to be a little blurry, but that was kind of what I wanted. I didn't want it to be too specific and too clear that who it was, just that there was a person there. Kind of in this massive place. It just kind of makes us as humans connect on the fact that there is something greater, there is something bigger than us, and that we are just placed on this earth for a purpose, for a reason, but that we are here for a higher calling, I believe. So that's one of the reasons I do enjoy this image particularly. Alright, so this last image I wanted to leave you guys with just sparks such curiosity in me of the forces that were flowing through this area at one point to cause such beautiful shapes and spaces in this ice cave. So the colors again, the texture, the form, the leading lines, just everything about this image screams something wanted me to be here to see this, and I just love it, and I'm so glad that you guys were able to watch the video and share it with me. So that'll wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching it. And I just love sharing these kinds of images where even we've been to Iceland before, but I've never been able to experience an ice cave because we came last winter with our kids. So they were too young for us to be able to go on a tour like this. So it was just really special for me to share this experience with you guys. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's content, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we will see you guys next week for more adventures in photography. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. Best round of my life.